I want to bring in right now New York State Senator and former White House Situation Room Senior Duty Officer Tom Croci. Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
You know, earlier we had a comment from Donald Trump that said, Trump said, Americans are not safe in America. What's your take on this escalating global terror threat, and do you believe that sentence to be true? Americans are not safe in America.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are becoming less safe. Since September 11th, it seems like some of the lessons that we learned, we've lapsed away from. Some of the technologies that we employed, some of the strategies we used, we're now backing away from. I don't know if it's a concerted effort to focus on social policies or domestic policies, but certainly what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening domestically with domestic radicalization, what the director of the FBI has said about the ongoing investigations in all 50 states should raise concerns, and we are probably in a more dangerous place than we were right before September 11, 2001, or in the days after.
Wow, that's pretty extraordinary, actually. So when you're talking about investigations into would-be jihadists or those people who want to join the fight in all 50 states.
And that's what the director of the FBI has announced. He started calling for state and local government participation back last spring when he recognized that the internet is the new tool, and it's something that you can't get a handle on. You have young people in their basements in the United States, American citizens, who are now being radicalized from a terminal somewhere in Pakistan or Syria or in Iraq. So it's a new kind of battlefield, and they're adapting. The terrorists are adapting.
Wow.
The enemy is adapting. We need to adapt with them.
So do we have the appropriate infrastructure to prevent one of these attacks? We saw one of the biggest impediments over in Belgium is they didn't have an anti-terrorism apparatus, and people weren't talking to each other, meaning governmental agencies. How are we doing over here? Does it need to be built out more? Is that one of the reasons why we're not as safe?
I think the institutions are there, the personnel are there, the trained intelligence and law enforcement professionals are there. In the case of Brussels, you had a detainee in custody. You had a suspect in custody who probably had information regarding a potential attack. Maybe
Abdeslam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe not that specific attack. Was that individual interrogated? They had passport data showing individuals who had traveled. They had an individual who has already been arrested. So there were pieces, the breadcrumbs were there. No one connected them. And in my opinion, I think that there has been a reluctance from the top, the leaders, the elected officials, both internationally and at state and local levels, not to put those breadcrumbs together, pushing it to some other individual or group. I think you have a lot of information there that could be used.
We can blame Edward Snowden for a lot of that, right? Otherwise known as that sniveling loser, weasel, coward. In terms of the backlash in Europe, for example, they've been fighting for almost a decade about putting together a airline passenger database. Here in the United States, whether it's the fight between Apple and the Justice Department, the metadata collection at the NSA is gone. How much is that hurting us and Europe?
Well, the tools will change, whether it's technical collection that was revealed by Snowden or others. The tools are going to change. What you need to have is the political will. Any successful war, any successful campaign was matched by a political will from its leadership and the population. And that's something that if we don't see that shift, we're going to be in for a long, hard fight.
Senator, are you seeing that shift? I mean, you've been in the Situation Room.
No, they don't even call it radical Islam.
It's a different mindset right now. The government will move wherever the head of the government tells it to move. And you're going to always, in any profession, you want to please your boss. You want to please your superior. So the cabinet secretaries at the National Security Council level, when they're meeting in the Principals Committee, they all get their marching orders from the president. They know how to go execute a policy. I don't know that what is happening now.
That's like bad leadership 101.
Well,
You're supposed to get feedback that gives you the right decision, not what you want to hear.
And in the Situation Room, we never questioned what our job was that day and who our enemy was.
But you're questioning it today because we're not getting a clear path.